Hello and welcome to Uniper's Market Insights. My name is Florian Oberländer, and as always, I'm very happy to welcome Uniper's Chief Analyst, Gregor Pett. Hi, Gregor.
Hello, Florian. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Gregor, it has been roughly 4 or 5 weeks since we last talked, and we discussed European markets back then. Not a lot has changed. Fundamentally, storages are still at decent levels, and prices seem to remain on low levels compared to last year. However, once in a while we see some price spikes, especially when we look at the gas market. What is the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, you said the overall situation hasn't fundamentally changed. That's true. But we already mentioned in the last session that there is a fragile balance, and that's what we see right now. Even extended maintenance of individual plants, for example, gas processing plants in Norway, leads or can lead to price spikes, sometimes combined with other factors. So, for example, we also see less LNG coming into Europe at this point in time. And as a result of these developments, which could be rather short-term, we see price spikes 4 to 5 euros within a couple of days. That is not unusual at this point in time. Yeah, still, I'm not pessimistic, so I'm optimistic that the storage targets will be met. But we need to watch the situation carefully in case something stronger happens.
Okay, understood. And you just mentioned it, that LNG volumes are not as high as previously on deliveries into Europe. We see a little bit more going towards Asia. Is this critical?
Not yet. I mean, the situation is that Europe has less volumes, and in particular Germany, long-term contracted than, for example, countries in Asia, which means there is, of course, a certain weakness. In case prices rise in Asia, that volumes can then go there instead of coming to Europe and or Germany. So that is known. At this point in time, we still get enough LNG, but the economy in China in particular is picking up, and this can mean, or this currently means, that more LNG is flowing there.
Okay, what does that mean? That China is picking up and gets more LNG? Is there more behind that?
Yeah, as expected, after the zero COVID policy, after that has ended, that the Chinese economy is picking up. The differences of opinion are how strong the growth will be, but we see that growth. As a result of that, we have also seen growth in LNG. So in the first half of 2023, not as strong as in 2021, which was the record year so far. But in the second half, we expect that these levels we could see that on a monthly basis. It's possible. It also depends on which industry branches are growing. So, for example, there is a weakness in high energy intensive industries in the building sector, in steel. So that is what we can see. Also, the indicators for sentiment are not particularly strong at this point in time, so it needs to be watched how that will develop. But it's possible that we will see strong intake again, and then this could have an impact also with less LNG coming into Europe.
Okay. Now you mentioned that Europe is competing against Asia when it comes to LNG. So let's take Qatar, for example. Both gets LNG from that destination. So basically, Qatar can decide on, okay, we will turn left or right with our ship depending on the prices.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What other sources does China have?
Yeah, China has a lot of sources. So also, for example, the US, and US have seen the strongest growth then in LNG liquefaction than over the past couple of years. So that for sure. You mentioned Qatar already, but also Russia is a source that is often almost forgotten or not seen. So Russia has in the last years tripled their LNG exports. So they are also active on this market. and certainly this is also a route to market for their gas.
Yeah, I saw that one of the routes they take is up north, where ice is usually a problem when it comes to delivery. And they are using so-called nuclear icebreakers to break the ice for the LNG ships, which is really interesting. So I Googled it. It's really impressive what a ship can look like. But coming back to that connection, what does this mean for the cooperation with Russia and China?
Yeah, that is often covered by the media, that how Russian-Chinese interdependencies develop as a result of energy exports or energy imports. So Russia is also building or has built pipelines to deliver gas to China. But the way I would see it is that it's not in China's interest to be too dependent on Russia regarding the energy imports. I'm sure they've looked at Europe and have seen the debates we had over the last year, mainly on energy dependency from Russia, and I'm sure Chinese will not want to repeat that exercise or come in that situation. They are not in that situation, and they don't want to get into that situation. So which means they are developing all sorts of energy sources, their own gas supplies in China itself, other supply routes. We mentioned LNG already, but also we must not forget that coal is the most important energy carrier in China, which they also to an extent produce inland in China itself. And they're also building up stock as we speak, then to be prepared for the eventuality. So my summary would be they're doing everything they can not to be dependent on Russia, which means probably the dependency from Russia on China will increase, because China is not only a deliverer of technology, but also an off-taker for their energy and pays for that energy. But in turn, the dependency from China on Russia, I doubt that will be massively increasing.
Okay. Thanks for making that clear, because in the media you always hear a slightly different tone when it comes to the relationship between China and Russia. So thanks for highlighting this. Given all these things right now, do you see any shift in the energy landscape globally?
Yeah, it's certainly evolving, and China, of course, is important, but China will also develop their own energy supplies, like renewables, like indigenous gas production. In total, I mean, these gas flows also will adapt to the situation. And as we mentioned, there will be more LNG, and that has more flexibility. So this is certainly an effect we will see, that the true globalization of the energy trade in gas.
Okay, good deal. Again, thank you very much for going into detail and answering my questions. And of course, we will be on a slight summer break now. We will return in August. However, there's a big event coming up, which is the LNG Conference 2023 in Vancouver, and you will be present. And hopefully you can, get some insights there as well, what we can talk about then in August.
Absolutely. We expect and hope that we talk directly to partners, customers, to the players in the global energy market and get some good insights from that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds good. And to you out there, of course, if you don't have any vacation plans yet and you want to meet Mr. Pett in person, then Vancouver is a great destination.
But I'm told it's quite crowded in summer. So that's what I heard.
You have fun and have a good summer. And to you out there, thank you very much for watching. Hope you tune in next time again. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.